In this short video, we are going to talk all about how to maintain a local development environment, how we can update, we can make changes to the local environment, how we can test our updates to our plugins and all of those things locally, and then push those changes live without ever having to update plugins from our WordPress dashboard on our live site. We're going to talk a little bit about how I set this up, and I'm going to give you just kind of the overview. And then if you want more details, comment below in this video and let me know, and I can do a full breakdown of how to get this set up, running and installed on your computer so you can have the same great system as what I've got going. As you can see, I have two Chrome tabs open here. One is for my local environment. That's the one with the orange bar across the top. It's ywe.test. And then I've got my live version, and that is at yourwebsiteengineer.com. I'm hanging out here on the dashboard page because you can see I have a Gutenberg to update and I have Ninja Forms. Both of them are outdated on my website. So that's what we're going to do. We're first going to just update Gutenberg so that it is on the most recent version. We're going to update to 4.3, and then I'll show you what that process looks like and how we can do that. I do a lot of things with the terminal, especially when I'm updating plugins and whatnot. So I'm going to do that via the terminal and just show you kind of the workflow and what it looks like. So I'm going to open up Hyper. All right, I've got Hyper open, and that is my terminal window. That is what I use. It's just an app called Hyper. I'll put a link down below in the video so you can see that. But I use Hyper, and I'm just going to navigate to where my website is located, and that is at, I'm going to go CD and then Sites. It's under Sites and then YWE, and that is where my test site is located. Now you can see I've customized the terminal script here just a little bit. The 7-day, 1 hour, 46 minute, that means that's the last time I pushed some sort of change or an update to my GitHub repository. So that's what that's there for. It's kind of nice, and we'll see that change as we go ahead and we do a few things. The first thing that I could do if I wanted to, I mean, I'm looking at my website here, so I see that Gutenberg and Ninja Forms need updated, but I could do WP plugin list, and that will show me all of my plugins. It looked like there was a couple errors right there at the top, just a couple things I need to fix in a couple of my plugins. We won't look at those, but I can see that Gutenberg has an update available and Ninja Forms has an update available. So what I could do is I'm going to update Gutenberg, and I'm going to do that via the command line. So WP plugin update Gutenberg. And it's going to go through and it's going to update Gutenberg, which is a good thing. So that's good. So and that's the first step. I've updated the plugin. I could refresh here on my WordPress screen. I can see that it's updated, and I'll do that here just in a second. And the next stage is to save this as a version inside of Git. And again, this is something that I've already set up, but it just makes it super simple to do. So I'm going to say git add dot, and that's going to do everything. That's going to include all of the files that have changed with just that latest version, version of Gutenberg. So I've added that. I'm going to commit it. So git commit -m, and then I'm going to say updated Gutenberg. Looks like I had an error there. Git commit updated. It must be a lowercase m. And then it went ahead and it rewrote all of the files and updated Gutenberg. Now you can see that the Git repository has changed. It now says that there's been 0 days since anything's been changed. And so since I've had that done, now I will push the repository. So git push, and that will send all of the new files to my GitHub account, my GitHub profile. It moves a few things, it does a few things, and now that's all done. And the last step in the process is to actually deploy these changes. And so what I could do is I could actually do the Gutenberg, and I could do Ninja Forms, and then I could do a few other changes, and I could deploy all of them if I wanted to all at the same time. I like to kind of deploy them one at a time just in case there's a hiccup or whatnot. And this would be a great chance now that I've updated Gutenberg, like I should go ahead and test it. Since Gutenberg is one of those plugins that's it's in a beta, it's not activated on my live site right now, and so it's not a big deal that I push these changes live right now. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. There is a script, and I'll have a link to this script as well, and it's called dandelion deploy. And you basically have a file. I think it's a .yml file. So you give it all your credentials, FTP credentials for your server, and then you can just basically that's stored inside of my local directory. And so I can type in dandelion deploy. And that's going to deploy my website over to where it's located on Pressable. So it's showing you all the files that it's changing. It's writing files. It's making changes. And this is only changing the files that have been updated inside of Gutenberg. So once I hit that button that updates Gutenberg, or I've done it via the command line, it's going to just change the files. And you can see there's a lot of files that have changed between Gutenberg 4.2 and Gutenberg 4.3. Now that is all done, and we should be able to, let's go ahead and we'll refresh both the test site and the live site. and I should see both of these notifications go away. So we've updated it here, which is good. And so I'm just going to refresh this page just to see what happens. And Gutenberg should disappear. All right, perfect. Gutenberg disappeared because we have updated Gutenberg. You can see there's only one update now left available. And we're going to go over to this tab and we're going to look and refresh and see if Gutenberg has been updated here. We'll refresh. And by the magic of Terminal and GitHub and deploying files directly, that means that right now that Gutenberg is now updated to the latest version. And you see that I only updated it on one site. Really cool, and I love this workflow. I've been using it for years, and I just wanted to highlight how that works. One other thing that I do is I like to keep my local environment a mere copy of what's happening live. And since I don't have a lot of transactions, there's not a WooCommerce store running or anything along those lines, I just like to keep an extra backup, if you will, of my website. So let's go ahead and just take a look at how I do that as well. So if we go into the podcast section on both sites, it will show what the podcasts are basically where I store all of my information for podcast episodes that come out. So you can see podcasts are right here, and I have up to 415. That's my latest podcast that's right there. And if I go over to my local site, I haven't done this in a little while. So if I go to all podcasts, there's really nothing there. There's only a couple things there because I haven't imported recently. I have all of them stored here in posts, and I changed them all recently to podcast. And so if we go to a podcast, we can see that there's really nothing there, and the website isn't identical in any means. There's so much more happening on live, and I need to get all of that information sucked down into this local environment on my site. And how I do that is with WP Migrate DB Pro. If I scroll down here to the tools section and go to Migrate DB Pro, I've got a couple different profiles here, and this is the one that I'm going to use today. It's ywe.com to local, and it's going to spin around and give me a little bit of information here. I put this information inside of the live site, and I've done that already. And then what this does is it goes ahead and it looks for, and these are a couple that are old, so I don't need this one anymore, but it's basically looking for any instance of in my old database for yourwebsiteengineer.com and replace it with ywe.test. So it's looking for that, and it's with HTTPS. I always want HTTPS. And then it's looking for it with the HTTPS version, and it's going to replace it with the HTTP version or HTTPS version. And so if I do this, it's going to save and duplicate everything. It's going to migrate all database table fields with this table. Or if I just wanted to do the post, if I have too much stuff here, I can just do the post or the post meta. I'm going to do everything, and with the power of the internet and the power of speeding up a video, we'll see what that looks like when it's all done. And just like that, the database migration is complete. Now, occasionally, once this has happened, all of the data has been moved from yourwebsiteengineer.com over to ywe.test. And occasionally, I will have to log back in. It will say the session is expired, and we'll have to log back in again. So let's go ahead and do that. We will click on the login link. We can go ahead and log in, and then we will see that we'll take a look here and see if everything is the same. So remember, we'll go to podcast. We'll look at the all podcast section, and now we see that we have 415 podcast episodes there. You do notice that they are missing some of these images over here. Now, this is some custom code that I've added for both the featured images and this little icon lets me know that a transcript has been uploaded or a transcript has been added to the file itself or to the post itself. And so I can see there that there's nothing there, which is okay. And then I can see a few of these images are not there for the most recent episodes. What I believe happened here is that I need to regenerate the thumbnails. And once I regenerate the thumbnails, then those images will appear. I'm not going to do that in this video because it takes a while to regenerate 400 plus images, but that is where it's at, and that is how I keep both sites in sync. So my workflow is with WP Migrate DB Pro. I don't use this very often. I would say maybe once a month. In this case, it had been several months since I've updated, mainly because if I'm updating and just changing content or updating plugins or updating like what the theme looks like, I don't need the latest post, but every once in a while it is good to kind of suck down and pull in all the information that's on your live site. This is a great example. Now I can go in and I can look at the database. I can clean up some things that are in the database and make sure the site's running more quickly, and I can do that on a local environment. So I do all of that with WP Migrate DB Pro, and you can find out more at yourwebsiteengineer.com/migrate. That will take you right there to my affiliate link for WP Migrate DB Pro. Again, that is the plugin that I use all the time for this type of work. It just saves so much time. Think about if you had to download the plugin or download the database and then manually upload it. It just takes a lot of time. This saves you minutes, and it's just so handy. And then I use a version of Git. I use Git in the command line with the WP CLI tools, and that's what I are able to update plugins very quickly and very smoothly without having to duplicate my efforts. So that's what I want to share with you today. If you want more detailed information about how to set this up, please let me know. You can email me, Dustin@yourwebsiteengineer.com, or in the links down below the YouTube video, you can say, hey, I want more. I want to know exactly how you set this up, and I'll be happy to make a longer form, a more geeky video that spells out those types of things. Until next time, take care, and we'll talk again soon. Bye-bye.